This podcast is not a substitute for a relationship with a mental health professional. Hey, hey, hey. It is your girl again, Andrea Wise-Brown, and you are listening to another episode of Mental Health is a Lifestyle podcast with your girl, Andrea Wise-Brown. And today, family, what we are going to talk about is how to cope with grief during the holiday season. Because what I know for sure as a practicing psychotherapist is during this time of year, a lot of people who have experienced loss in their families are grieving. They're in pain. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. You already know I have to take 1 second to remind you to kind of do some little work here. Hold on. To remind you, if you haven't done so already, to click this little bell and subscribe to the channel. And even if you're listening on the podcast, subscribe. Please subscribe, like it, and share. And comment because I want to know what you guys are thinking. I want to know if you feel like this is helpful. And I would love to get some suggestions. Yeah, so send me some suggestions of something that maybe you want me to talk about. You want us to talk about, or something that you may want to learn, because I am here to give you the goods. And right now, today, I am here to support you during this holiday season with your grief. However, when you're initially impacted by the loss of a loved one, the grief feels really big. It feels huge. However, after some time and some work, you can get to a place where it's manageable and you can actually live with grief and find some peace in life. And that's what I'm here to help you do. I'm going to give you 7 steps to cope with grief during the holiday season. 7 steps to cope with grief during the holiday season. So we're going to start off with number 1. Number 1 is, please feel your feelings. Don't try to avoid feeling your feelings. Don't try to skip over it. Don't try to go around it. And you guys know, I will talk to you about this over and over again, because there is so much power in feeling your feelings and owning your feelings. Because once you can feel them and identify what they are, then you can actually explore them and process them to see if they serve you. Because sometimes our feelings don't serve us. Sometimes our feelings can get us into trouble, but then sometimes they can serve us. But in order for you to even make that decision, you have to choose to feel your feelings, you know, especially during this time, because the thought is that feeling my feelings surrounding grief will kill me. It will strangle me. It will take everything from me. But that's not true. And it doesn't last for long. Like, it will pass. It'll come back again, but then it will pass. It will come back again, but then it will pass. But you need to feel your feelings. They won't kill you. I want you to deal with them. Don't avoid your feelings, because if you avoid your feelings, that's one of the things that's going to keep you trapped. It will keep you trapped, stuck in the same situation, in denial. You don't grow from being in denial. Denial is the opposite of feeling your feelings. Denial is making up your own story and trying to go feel something else. Then you will never process and go through it. Sometimes, listen, the truth is, all the time, in order to get to the other side of the fire, we got to go through it, although it's going to be painful, and no one wants to be in pain. I get that. But you got to make the choice to go through it. And going through it is feeling your feelings. It's not going to kill you. Okay? Your feelings won't kill you. Okay? Choose to feel them. Don't stay stuck in denial and push off your feelings. You deserve your feelings, and you deserve to feel them. Cry. Let it out. Walk, maybe scream, but feel your feelings. Get on the floor, roll around, lay, kick, feel them. You'll see. After so long, it goes away. Then you be looking around like, damn. Like I want to get it again, or I want to do. And it's like going, and you don't have no more energy to do it. So feel your feelings, okay? That's number one. Number two, during this holiday season, and let me, I'm gonna validate something for everyone out there in the family and outside of our family who's lost someone. I'm gonna validate your feelings when you say, because I've heard this before. It angers me when I see other people laughing, having fun, and living life when I lost my loved one, you know. Or I go walk in a house and I'm the one that's feeling like I'm going to visit my friends, I'm saying, and walk in a house, and I'm the only one, I feel like I'm the only one who's feeling this pain of losing my loved one. It looks like everybody else has forgotten my loved one, and everybody else, and this could even be people in your own family, like everyone else is just going on and laughing, and like, why aren't they hurting? They don't care. I'm the only one that cares. But those are lies that you're telling yourself, because every single person deals with grieving the loss of a loved one, and that's just grieving in different ways. In different ways. So I'm going to challenge you on this. I'm going to validate your feelings of anger and frustration, because they are your feelings and I want you to feel them. But then I want to help you process those. And I want you to ask yourself, because what your feelings may be telling you is something that's inaccurate. So I want you to ask yourself, when you jump to conclusions because of your feeling, is, do I know this to be 100% true? So if I walk into my family situation and I'm feeling sad, but everybody else is laughing and having fun, and so my anger, the grief is whispering, my anxiety is whispering to me, and it's fueling anger to protect me because I'm really hurt, and then I'm making up a story in my head that says nobody else cares. You got to pause. You got to ask yourself, do I know that to be 100% true? Now, the reality might be that they didn't have the relationship that you had with the person, so they don't feel the exact same. That may be true. Okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But what's not true is that nobody else cares. You got me? I don't want you to isolate. Although you do have, maybe you may be experiencing some feelings where you're judging other friends or family members for not, hurting the way you do. I don't want you to isolate. So you pick your place and go spend some time with some friends or some family. But you need to be around family and you need to be around friends. Okay? That's number 2. Do not isolate. Number 3 is, in remembrance of your family member, you can start a new tradition. Do something different. So maybe when you go to your family's house, you say, okay, y'all, so this year, in honor of Uncle Peter, let's all go around the table and say, give a memory of a time that you spent with Uncle Peter, you know? And this is something that you build into the tradition, the holiday tradition. And then every single person, can give some time and some energy to the love and the life of Uncle Peter. And then it feels good. You can laugh about him and you can honor him, and it could feel good. You can even maybe decide to go to the graveyard. Say, okay, y'all, we're going to all meet at the graveyard in the morning or in the afternoon before we eat dinner, or after dinner, we're going to go out there and clean the grave off and take flowers or whatever that looks like. But we're going to meet out there and say a prayer, so you can actually create a new tradition in remembrance of your loved one with your family. You don't have to do it alone. If you want to do it alone, it can be something that you do alone, because for some people, some people feel better doing, having those very vulnerable moments alone, because maybe you want to go to the grave and kick and scream and cry, and you can do that. Have your feelings. Have your feelings. However, if you don't want to do it alone, share it with your family. They may want to do it too. Maybe you can go a little earlier and then have them come and meet you a little bit later. You can have your moment alone and then they can have their moment and you can share something together. All right. So this doesn't have to remain a sad time, although sadness may come upon you. Okay. Don't judge it. Don't judge your sadness. Remember, feel your feelings. Okay. Number 4, don't resist grief. You are going through a grieving process. Don't resist it. As I told you in number 1, when I said feel your feelings, don't resist the grieving process. Kubler and Ross, these were, and David Kessler, these were some psychologists who did a whole study some years ago on grief, and they came up with 6 stages of grief. So when we talk about the process of grief, I just want to kind of hit you with these 6 stages, and you may find yourself somewhere in these stages, somewhere at one point or the other. And I will tell you this, I'm going to give them to you in a specific order. However, as you grieve, you don't necessarily grieve in one specific order. Like, these aren't chronological where it's like first stage, then the second one, then the third. No, 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 no. You can start off with the top and then, get down to the third stage and then go back to the top, go to the second. So it moves around. So you will move back and forth from stage to stage. However, the last stage is the stage that, in hopes you get to a better place when you get to the last stage, and that's acceptance. So let me just kind of throw these at you, and I want you to open up and receive them, because I don't want you to resist the grieving process. And another reason I'm going to tell you these stages is because I don't want you to feel like you're alone. Like, grief is something that each and every human being on this earth will go through. Like, we all will, if we haven't already, so have gone through and or will go through. We will go through grief. So this is something that you aren't the first one and you're not going to be the last one to go through this. So this is a universal thing, construct that we will all go through. So you're not alone. Although I know sometimes you feel like you're alone, but you're not alone. Okay, so don't resist the grief, and this is what grief looks like. So, as I was saying, Kubler-Ross and David Kessler, they came up with these stages. So the first one is denial. Denial. And usually, that's kind of, you started off after someone actually passes away, one of your loved ones, you go through this denial. Well, I feel fine. When it just happened, do you really feel fine? Okay. So I feel fine. And these are just little examples because I'm not going to go into depth for all of these. I just want to kind of give them to you quickly. So denial is a stage, right? I feel fine. Then another stage is anger. Anger. Why me? Why me? Why not this person, or why not that person? Why me? Especially like if you've lost your mom and you're around someone else, and you see them spending time with their mom, and maybe they don't have a as good of a relationship as you've had with your mom. Maybe they aren't as nice or as kind to their mom as you were. So then sometimes you can watch that and you get pissed. Sometimes you get pissed with God. I know, don't say that. Everybody's like, oh God, I want to say it, but I don't say it. But this is real. This is real. This is what we go through as people. We little baby God bodies born in his image, but we aren't him. We aren't perfect. So yeah, there's some anger that comes up. Why me? Then there's a bargaining is another stage, right? Bargaining is, well, if I could only have done this, or oh, I wish I could have only done this, or Lord, well, why don't you reverse it or do this, or let me go to sleep and wake up, and so there's a bargaining stage. And then there's a depression stage, you know, where sometimes you may feel like, why am I going on? I don't want to go on. That just ended now. I don't want to be here anymore. Why go on? Then here's another stage, is acceptance. And acceptance was the goal The goal is acceptance. And I've said this to you before in other podcasts. Acceptance, period, dot, okay, is a powerful word because once we can accept something for what it is, then we can get the power to do whatever it is we need to do to move forward in the way that we want to move forward. So you can get your power from a state of acceptance. But when you're dilly-dallying around and you're not accepting something and you're living in denial, then I'm telling you, you will stay stuck. You can't get over something unless you fully accept it, not agree with it. I need you to hear me. When I say acceptance, it's an A word, and agree is an A word, but they are not the same. So I'm not saying you have to agree with it, but accept it. Acceptance is a powerful word. And when it comes down to grieving, the grieving process, acceptance is where you want to be. Accepting what is, accepting what is. But what's so interesting is later on, David Kessler, who did work with Kubler and Ross when they came up with those 5 stages of grief, later on, when he lost his son, he said, yes, he could agree that the research was accurate about the 5 stages, but he added another stage. And I love this stage. And he said the 6th stage, because he coins it the 6 stages of grief, but the 6th stage is meaning. So it's around meaning. So finding some type of meaning as to why, your loved one was here, what it was that they did when they were here, how it is that they changed your life when they were here, how it is that they changed someone else's life. Like make some meaning of their life while they were here. So that would be the grieving process. And as I said, when you first start off in grief, it seems so big. You can't even wrap your arms around it. It's huge. So I'm, like I said, like a boulder, like a huge boulder, like a big, big circle. And then you feel like you're like a dot right next to that boulder. Like, you're no comparison to the grief. The grief feels so heavy on your heart and your mind. But as time goes on and you move through these stages, then what happens is it switches. Okay? So I'm not saying that you're in agreement. And some days you still will be sad when you think about your loved one because you want your loved one here. But the grief will shrink and become the dot, and then you will start to live your life again fully and become the huge big circle and boulder. But you'll continue to live with the grief, but it won't stop you from going forward. Okay? And that's what timing does, and that's what research has shown me. Okay, guys? So don't resist the grieving process is number 4. Number 5, don't you forget to take care of yourself. You take care of yourself. You hear me? During this time. So taking care of yourself, y'all know I'm always talking about exercise. Get you some exercise, some regular exercise. Please, you need regular exercise. Even when you tell me that, oh, I tried it for 2 days and it didn't work, keep trying it. I want it to be a routine, a daily occurrence, and it's going to kick in. You have to keep doing it. You have to create a new habit. It is good for you. There's so much research that shows the benefits of exercise. I'm telling you, it raises the dopamine in your brain. That's that neurotransmitter that gives you a burst of happiness. Same thing that happens when some of you get on social media and you get a boost of dopamine. That's that little happy feeling that you get. You know what I mean? Or you get a text message from somebody. I probably get that when I get like a Cash App when a notification, okay? That's that dopamine bing, bing, bing. So it's that thing. That's the thing that you do get from exercise, but you have to keep on doing it and making it a habit. And your nutrition, what do you feed in your brain? What do you feed in your body? Take care of yourself. You hear me? So that's number 5 is taking care of yourself. Number 6, I'm going to always say this. Find you a psychotherapist. Find you somebody to talk to about your grief. Find you somebody to talk to about your pain. Sometimes people will find it difficult, and my clients have told me this before, how sometimes, let me say, it's difficult for them to talk to their friends or their family about their grief, because they start to feel like they may be annoying, or they like a broken record, then they start to judge themselves and be, critical of themselves, like, oh God, I should be over this by now, and no one else, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer or whatever. So okay, I told you, feel your feelings. Doesn't mean that they're true, but they are your feelings. Doesn't mean your feelings are valid, but what your feelings are telling you, it doesn't mean that that's true. And so, but what I would tell you is, it will probably make you more comfortable if you don't have a family member to go to, or a loved one to go to, a friend to go to a therapist. And there are some therapists out here who specialize in grief therapy. That they love it. Like all their clients are grieving the loss of someone. Yes. So there are some therapists out here who love to help you and walk you through grief. Yes, they specialize in grief therapy. They do. So find you somebody to talk to. Yes, they can't wait for you to come in so you can process your feelings and your thoughts, and you can just talk and talk and talk and get it off your chest, so that you don't feel like, maybe, I don't know, those thoughts, I'm boring someone, or I'm bringing other people down, or I keep talking. You ain't got to go through all of that. Do some of it with your family and your friends. You can connect with them, but you go into your therapist's office and just unload. That's what we're here for. And you can find a therapist. And I told you, I will tell you this over and over again. They don't give me no money for this. I actually pay them for this. But psychologytoday.com, I just like it because, to me, it's a universal website. You can put your zip code in. You can actually look for grief therapists. I think you can type that up in there in the search bar, and it will bring up therapists who specialize in grief in your area. So talk to a therapist. And I am going to give you, this is the last little tip today, and that's volunteering. Volunteering during the holiday season, and really any other time of the year, can really make you feel good. It can make you feel purposeful when you give to someone else, when you give your time to someone else. It can take you out of your thoughts. When you see someone else who's less fortunate than you, light up. When you see that you can touch somebody's life and it changes their life, even if it's for one moment, when they just smile, when they light up. So volunteer. That also will boost the dopamine in your brain, and you will feel good. Okay, y'all? So I'm just here to inspire you and to encourage you and to hold your hand through it, family. I'm not leaving you out there. Okay? I got you. I got you. You show up, and I'm going to keep showing up too. I am going to keep showing up too. And here today, I gave you 7 steps for you to cope with grief during the holiday seasons. Family, you are not alone, and you will get through this. You hear me? I get it. Anniversaries are hard. And this is anniversaries in pertaining to, anniversaries are times of the year that you've celebrated with your deceased loved ones. Anytime you think about their birthdays, or if you think about, when they actually transition, those are anniversaries. Or when you think about the holidays, those are anniversaries, and they are tough. They are tough. I will validate that for you, but you are not alone. So I'm telling you, don't you tell yourself that. There are people around you who love you. They want to hear from you, and they want to wrap their arms around you and sit with you. They want to. They want to help you with your happiness. They do. They do, but you have to reach out. You cannot isolate and sit alone, because remember, this is universal. We will all go through it, or either we've been through it before and we'll go through it again, and we will get through it together. Okay? So the last thing I just want to leave with you, for anybody who's feeling really sad and maybe having thoughts of suicide, because they're grieving during the holiday season, I'm going to give you this National Suicide Prevention Line. It's the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. The number is 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255. And then there's a chat. Look at there, honey. There's a chat. And this is the crisis text line. The crisis text line is 741-741. I'll give it to you again. The crisis text line is 741-741. All right, family. I love you long time. And we are at the end of another episode of the Mental Health is a Lifestyle podcast by your girl, Andrea Wise-Brown. And I love you, love you, love you. Please share this episode. Give it to your loved ones or someone that you know may be grieving during this time, during the holiday season, because we all have to stick together. So I love you guys, and I will see you on the next episode